Hey, good morning, guys. How's it going? Hopefully, what is this, week three? Week three of online learning, maybe? Hopefully, it's going well. If not, again, make sure you are emailing me. All right, I will answer individual emails. I think some of us are doing a great job of that, others need to start doing that. Okay, I can't help somebody who doesn't ask. Otherwise, I assume you know what you're doing. Um, the agenda today is pretty pretty simple, I think, overall, as far as the agenda per se. We're going to go over a couple quiz problems, and then we are going to go over the homework real quick. And then that was over Pythagorean Theorem. Not all of you submitted that on Google Forms yet. I only have 26. I should be having, by the time it's all said and done, over 90 submissions of that. So make sure you get that turned in, guys. Um, and if I need to do something better, let me know. Okay, but you got to get your work done. Um, you know, and then after we go through the homework, we're going to learn special right triangles. All right, this is the third section of the chapter, I believe. No, yeah, fourth, right? Because we first simplified radicals, which was algebra. And then we multiplied and divide radicals, which we had a quiz over, algebra. And then I merged that into geometry with Pythagorean Theorem, which is what your homework was that we'll go over. And then we're going to do 45, 45, 90s. Okay. The next class we'll do 30, 60, 90s. Then we'll finally get to my favorite, trigonometry. Make sure you have a calculator that has trig on it. You know, the sine, cosine, tangent, sin, sin, K or COS for cosine, tangent, TAN. Make sure you have a calculator that has that on there. Okay, you've seen those buttons before with that. All right, so they're right there. Right, see that sine, cosine, tangent. We're gonna learn what these buttons all do. Right, in this chapter. So if you don't have one, get one, please. It was in your course syllabus requirement anyway at the very beginning of last year in Algebra 1. So some of us still don't have those. Anyway, let's get some prayer in. Let's get some prayer in. All right. In the name of the Father, Son, and Spirit, Amen. Heavenly Father, continue to pray for all of these guys on the video, all my students, all the students at the Mount, all students everywhere that might be struggling with this. Help us all realize that all of us are going through this same thing together. We're all adjusting to our new normal. So help us all lean on you. And if we're stressed or if there's a lot of anxiety growing, help us first and foremost to fall on our knees in prayer. And if not, talk to somebody, to email somebody, talk to a friend, call a teacher, call somebody if you need somebody to talk to. Because we all have learned through this just how important we are made for human relationship. And just compatibility and just actually being with each other. I think we're finally realizing that Snapchat and Instagram and all this social media, Facebook, whatever it is, that doesn't do it for us. We yearn for human compatibility and companionship and relationship. So help us, not take that for granted like we did before this. So with that being said, just lift everybody up in prayers. Keep in mind that this is during this Easter season that you too suffered. So help us all realize and lift up our suffering to grow in our faith and to grow closer to you. So we like to intercede through your Mother Mary by praying, "Remember, O most gracious Virgin Mary, that never was it known that anyone who fled to thy protection, implored thy help, or sought thy intercession was left unaided. Inspired with this confidence, I fly unto thee, O Virgin of Virgin, my Mother. To thee do I come, before thee I stand, sinful and sorrowful. O Mother of thy Word incarnate, despise not our petitions, but in thy mercy hear and answer me. Amen." In the name of the Father, Son, and Spirit, amen. And continue to keep my grandfather in the nursing home in your prayers, if you don't mind, guys. And my grandma, who's at home by herself. So we all have our own story. We have our own issues. So just keep everybody in prayers. You guys know who this jersey is, right? The early Kobe Bryant. All right, what do we got going on today? All right, so first things first. These were quiz problems. Now, I will say, guys, the quiz scores were extremely good. They were, in fact, they were abnormally good. I had people that have not had a perfect score on a quiz in the entire 2 years that I've taught you suddenly get a perfect score. I am trusting that you are doing it honestly, because otherwise that's going to hurt you in the long run. All right, so otherwise, great job overall on the quiz, guys. I did give everybody 2 free points or a free problem. So if you got an 18 out of 20, you got a 20 out of 20. If you already got a 20 out of 20 whenever I release your scores, that'll stay at a 20 out of 20. I did not give anybody over 100%. But hopefully it made sense to you for those of you that are all trying to learn this as best you can on your own. Even though I do know that there are some that are not doing things the way that God would want you to, but that is out of my control. That is on your soul, not mine. But keep up the good work for those of you that are working really hard and asking me questions, and especially on how to divide radicals and stuff like that. All right, so anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and go over these problems. This is number 6 on your quiz. If you missed this one, this was 3 square root of 3. Remember, you are multiplying by square root of 3 over 3. So that would be your first step. Remember, that's a fancy version of 1. Multiply straight across, and you'll get 3 square root of 3 over square root of 3 times square root of 3 right there is 9, square root of 9. And what's the square root of 9? 3. So this turns into 3. That's why we do this, to get rid of the radical on the bottom. All right, so 3 square root of 3 over 3. What is 3 divided by 3 reduced to? 1. So it's 1 over 1, which is kind of useless, right? So your final answer is just square root of 3. That is the answer to number 6 on the quiz that you turned in last class. This problem, number 9, I know Chloe, I know you definitely wanted me to go over this one. Okay, so this one's got some unique pieces involved. I'm going to multiply just like before by the radical 2 on both sides. Radical 2, radical 2. Notice I'm not multiplying by 3 because the 3 is not the problem. The issue that I have here is the square root of 2 on bottom. So we're going to multiply straight across, and we're going to end up getting, boom, square root of 8 times square root of 2 is square root of 16 because they're both inside the parentheses. If you don't remember how to do this, go back to my last video. And then we got 3 square root of 2 times square root of 2. That turns into 3 times square root of 4. Okay? So now this step, I actually have 2 perfect squares. What's the square root of 16 on top? 4. So 4 over 3 times, what is the square root of 4? 2. So it's 3 times 2. So this turns into, I'm on the wrong side, guys. I'm on the wrong side. This turns into 4 over 3 times 2 is 6. What is 4 6 reduced to? 2/3. So that problem on your quiz number 9, that was 2 over 3 as your final answer. Okay? So again, if you're struggling on that, it's going to make your life more difficult, I promise. Whenever you do 30, 60, 90s, and 45, 45, 90s in this chapter, right? So let's move on. Let's erase this. Go over the homework answers. Actually, let me just put this on here. Here's your homework answers. If you need to, pause your screen or pause this video, and you can check your answers all the way through. That is what you should have submitted to me on Google Forms. All right, so that paper, if you don't remember what that looks like, that is this one right here, homework assignment. That is all review, 1 through 8, all simplifying radicals. And we had 6 problems there, all as radicals. Again, these are all right here. Okay, so let me bring this closer to you. If you need to, pause your video right now and check those answers. And if you missed any of them, please email me and I will do the problem on this board, take a picture of it, explain it to you, and do everything that I can to help you understand it. Okay, I am going to go over the challenge problem right here though. Okay, that's a great problem. Very common standardized testing problem. Okay, so let me show you that one. The challenge problem is this right here. The diagram at the right shows how a post was broken. What was the original height of the post? All right, so the answer is 54 inches or 4.5 feet. Let me show you how I got that. There's my post. It's broken right there. And then it fell over on the ground. Break. Ground. 9 degrees. We got to see how long this is with this. Okay, so the dimensions are 2 feet on this side, and then the base, the distance from the top of the pole after it broke to the original bottom of the pole or the post, it is 18 inches. So you got to pay attention to those units. This is a problem. No pun intended. So this is in inches. That's in feet. That's an issue. We have to make sure that you convert them both into inches or both into feet. I personally went ahead and converted my 2 feet into 2 times 12, 24 inches. Okay. So the goal is you got to find the hypotenuse, right? So that's my x, right? As we've done that. So you just got to do a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So you end up getting 18 squared plus 24 squared equals x squared. After you do all that solving, you end up getting x equals 30 inches. So then since that represents this part, and then we already have the 24 inches over here, and you want the total height, the original height of the post, you just add the 30 and the 24. So 30 and 24 will give you the 54 inches, which is how I got 54 inches. Or you can convert that, into feet, and you'll get 4.5 feet. Okay, so that was the challenge problem right here. Just applying Pythagorean Theorem. I don't remember if I gave that to you at the beginning of the year of Chapter 1 or not. So, otherwise, that is the homework. That is the third section of this chapter. Again, so far this is all, none of this has been officially quite new, but except maybe radicals if you haven't done that before. Some of you might have, others have not. But either way, we are going to move on. So, the next course of action here, guys, is this paper. This is in your email. Okay, so these are your notes. Special right triangles. Go ahead and write that down. Okay, but it says the following are right triangles. What am I doing? I need to put this on here. Excuse me. So, special right triangle notes. The following are right triangle shortcuts. Okay, so if you ever forget the ratio shortcuts, you can always use trig, but we'll do trig later. All right, but these are ratios, and you'll use these a lot in pre-calculus. Okay, you have to know if your goal is to get to pre-calculus, you have to know 45, 45, 90s, and 30, 60, 90s that I'm going to teach you today and the next class period. Okay, so either way, isosceles right triangles. 45, 45, 90, and isosceles right triangles. Those mean the exact same thing. Okay, that's all I said there, right? And I did write that down. Okay, so theorem number 1, in a triangle whose angles measure 45, 45, 90. Okay, so in your picture, I'm going to highly recommend put those degrees in there. Okay, let me grab my pen. So in order for it to be an isosceles right triangle, it has to be 45, 45 degrees. So I just put those markings right in there. All right, so each of my angles are 45 degrees, and then of course I have a right angle, that's where the 90 comes from. So 45, 45, 90 should be self-explanatory. And you notice this is x across from this 45, and this is x across from that 45. Okay, meaning they're congruent. That's the isosceles part of the definition. Okay, so let me explain, like this right there, the x squared of 3, that is just a ratio. All right, it's kind of like a formula, so to speak. All right, but this is like a locked in approach to being able to find the remaining sides if I give you one of them. Okay, so for example, we got 45, 45, 90. The ratio is x squared of 3. Now this is not anything you need to actually do, but I do want to explain what this means. X squared of 3. That is just the Pythagorean theorem of 45, 45, 90s. Okay, so if I have x and x squared of 3, that is just a master ratio. Okay, and these shortcuts here, that's what you need. All right. If this measure is given, so if I give you the leg and you want to find the hypotenuse, you're going to multiply by the square root of 2 every single time. That is just a locked-in rule. All right, use this chart if you need to. If the measure they give you is the hypotenuse and you want to find the leg, then you do the opposite and you divide by square root of 2. And this is all done by hand. Okay, so it might be best to really just kind of go straight into an example, and I'll just show you how to use that, how to use this ratio of x squared root of 2, because it sounds more complicated than what it really is, guys. I promise. This right here is just your two options of what you're going to do. It's going to be one. Sorry, it's going to be one of this. It's either going to be this one or this one. Right, and I gave you this right here, so I'm gonna redraw that problem for example 1. So let me go through here. So example 1. Here's your triangle. 45, 45, 90. This is 6. This is x. Okay, so we are given what are we given? We are given a leg, right? So just recall, as a refresher, we already know this. We did this in the last lesson. That's a leg, and this is the hypotenuse. Okay, so you are given the leg, right? So the leg is 6. So I'm going to put given leg. And we are solving for x. X is over here. That is my hypotenuse. So very simply enough, go to your chart. So it says if you're given the leg, I'm given the leg, and you want to solve the hypotenuse, what do? You multiply the leg by square root of 2. So that's what we're going to do. So it says, so we multiply by square root of 2. So we're just going to take that leg of 6, right, and just say 6 times square root of 2. And that's my final answer. 6 square root of 2 is the length of that right there, of my hypotenuse. We have just done the first one. Simple as that. There's nothing to do. Okay, so that is example 1. Let's do example 2 now. Again, if you need to, go back and rewatch the video. All right, if you need me to slow it down for you or something, let me know. I'll be sending you other videos too, just in case you're not catching it from me. I have some more examples and maybe somebody that you like better. I don't know. But example 2. Practice makes perfect. If you don't get it on the first example, that makes sense. All right. Next problem. This time I flipped it up on you. Here I put the x over here. Here is my 6. Right? So this is still my leg. This is still my leg. And this is still my hypotenuse. Right? So this time, what are we given? The hypotenuse, which is 6. So I'm going to put given the hypotenuse. This time we're solving for the leg, because that's where x is. Again, this is example 2. Solving for leg. Go back to your chart. You're given the hypotenuse. We're at the bottom row now. You want to find the leg. What do you do? What do you do? Divide the hypotenuse by square root of 2. That's it. So we do. So I'm going to put divide by square root of 2. So just take that 6, because that's what we're given, the hypotenuse of 6, divided by square root of 2. And this is why I had to have you do that last lesson. You need to break this down. So 6 divided by square root of 2, no radicals on bottom. That's a big no-no, right? So then we're going to multiply by square root of 2 over square root of 2, which is going to equal 6 square root of 2 over square root of 2 times square root of 2 is square root of 4. Square root of 4 is 2. Okay, now I just got to reduce my my coefficients. What's 6 over 2 reduced to? 3. So my final answer is 3 square root of 2. So that's my final answer. That is the length of that leg. That x equals 3 square root of 2. Now I could ask you guys, again, I'm going to put this over here. If I'm looking at my master ratio, x square root of 2, that's just that's just my locked in ratio. This over here is. If this is x square root of 2, because these are both legs, that's a leg, and that's a leg. All right, so if this leg is 3 square root of 2 on example 2, this bottom leg is 3 square root of 2 as well. All right, remember, these are also called isosceles right triangles. Okay, so that's example 2. Hopefully you're catching my drift here. Let's continue. Let's just erase the whole thing. We'll do example 3. Again, 45. So we are given for example 3. Again, you're following along with this paper, right? Right. So we are given that 4. Here's my picture. Whoa, that picture isn't accurate, Mr. G. It looks more like this. That's 90 degrees. Boom. Here's x. No big deal. I just changed the orientation of my triangle. That is not drawn to scale accurately, but that's okay. 4 square root of 2. So, if this is my 90-degree angle, again, this is drawn poorly. Let's fix it. That's almost worse, Mr. G. Oh well, you guys get the picture. This is my hypotenuse. This is my leg. This is my leg. All right, every single time for a 45, 45, 90. Again, we're given the leg. Happens to be 4 square root of 2. We are solving for the hypotenuse over here. Back to your chart. If you're given the leg, solving the hypotenuse, top row, multiply. So we're going to multiply by square root of 2. Okay? Sorry, I'm going to put multiply. So multiply by square root of 2. So take 4 square root of 2. that whole thing times square root of 2. Right? Square root of 2 times square root of 2 is just 2, because it's 4 square root of 4, which is then going to be 4 times 2, which equals 8. So that is what my hypotenuse is, 8. So that is example 3. Hopefully you're catching my drift. Yeah, and if not, please rewatch it. Watch the other video I'm sending you. Email me. I am doing everything I can to help you, as long as you're doing your best to help yourself. All right, so last one. All right, we've got example 4. Here's my picture. X, 3 square root of 6. Don't need. So given, this time we are given, that's the hypotenuse. Hopefully we're getting quicker at this. 3 square root of 6 is my hypotenuse. I'm solving for a leg. All right, so if I'm going back to my chart, I just keep using this. If you go from the hypotenuse and you need to find the leg, you're going to divide by square root of 2. Every single time this bottom step, guys, it's either going to be multiplied by square root of 2 or divided by square root of 2. It just depends on if you're going from bigger to smaller. Right? If you're going to the hypotenuse, logically, you're going to multiply, because multiplication makes things bigger most times. Right? And if you're going from the hypotenuse to the leg, you're going to divide by square root of 2. So that's a way you can do it without kind of memorizing the chart. But anyway, we're going to take 3 square root of 6, divide it by square root of 2, and now we just got to do what we did last lesson of what you did on your quiz. Multiply by square root of 2 over square root of 2. That's going to give you 3 square root of 12 over 2. Right? Square root of 2, square root of 2, square root of 4, 2. Now the problem is, guys, you still need to simplify. The joy of math. You need to break this down. Right? What does 12 break down into? Into your perfect squares. You know that list that we did last class? 4 and 3, because 4 is a perfect square. All right, so this problem turns into 3 square root of 4 square root of 3 over 2. Now that looks more confusing than what it really is, but this is just 2. So it's 3 times 2, which is 6. I just did that step all at once. So we got 6 square root of 3 over 2. Break that down and reduce it. 6 over 2 reduces to 3, so it is final answer of 3 square root of 3 for my x right there. 3 square root of 3. Which means that this would also be 3 square root of 3, but I didn't ask you for that. Right, because they're both legs. So hopefully that makes sense. We just did 4 examples right now here in class. All right, and then your homework, as you do that, is going to be 10 problems. Okay, 10 problems. And I think I'm not going to do next time you have a quiz on this stuff, I'm not going to do it as matching again. I think I learned from my mistake on that one. Okay, but if that makes sense, great. If not, rewatch it. Watch the other video I give you. Email me. Do something, please. Don't just let yourself not get it. All right. Your homework is this paper right here. Evens only. Okay, 45, 45, 90, day 1. 10 problems. All right. This column. Evens. Okay, then we'll go through those next time. So you got to find the value of both missing sides. Okay, so remember they're isosceles right triangles. Do you want me to do a problem for you real quick? I'll just, I can just do number 2. All right, let me do number 2. On that worksheet. You can either print it off or just pull it up on your computer and do this on a separate sheet of paper. But the directions say, find the value of the missing sides. Okay? So here's number 2. What are we given? Hypotenuse, right? Use your notes. We're given the hypotenuse. We're finding the leg. So what do we have to do to both sides? Divide. So we're going to do 2 square root of 2 divided by square root of 2. That's my first step. Now that's convenient because square root of 2 cancels out. Just like 2x over x cancels out. Right? You can still do that with radicals. Okay, so that goes away. So that makes this problem pretty simple. My leg is 2. Right? So my leg is 2. So that means this is 2 and this is 2. So you can just put your answers out like that. Okay, so find both missing sides. 2 of your side lengths will always be the same because it's isosceles. All right. I think that's all I got, guys. Again, let me know if you have any questions. But this stuff is really important, especially whenever you get to pre-calculus. For those of you that are now, or Algebra 2 next year, you need to know it. All right. Otherwise, hopefully you had a good Easter, guys. God bless as always, and please hold yourself accountable and hold me accountable. If you have any questions, email me. I will respond. Okay? Don't stress. Why stress whenever you can just ask for help? So much easier. Okay? Anyway, God bless, guys. I miss you. I love you. Amen.